Welcome students and everyone. Today I am going to deliver my video talk on descending track, a motor pathway. So without wasting the time, let's start the video class. First of all, we see the basic concept of the descending tract, and as well as we recap the central nervous system function in context of the descending tract function. So descending tract is the motor tract. It means that it conveys the motor impulse from the higher center to the lower center. So it means that the bundle of the axon fiber within the CNS, which has a common origin and common termination, which convey the motor impulse from the higher center to lower center, and which connect the two masses of the gray matter which move downward through the CNS. So that specific fibers which are originated from the higher center, then after which are terminated in the uniform or one common termination nuclei. So that pathway or channel which is specified for the conveying the motor impulse, that is called as a descending tract. So it means that descending tract which move downwards or which is run downward from the higher center to lower center, and which has a specific or uniform origin and uniform termination, and which is named only after the connecting the two masses of the gray matter nuclei. So here we told that, or we are telling that it has a uniform origination and uniform termination, and which is originated from the higher center. So it means that the nuclei where these fibers are originated with that uniform nuclei or uniform origination is that nuclei is called as upper motor neuron, and the uniform nuclei where it is terminated, so that nuclei is called as a lower motor neuron. So upper motor neuron is a neuron which is present in the higher center and brain, and lower motor neuron is a neuron which is present in the lower center of the CNS, either in the spinal cord anterior horn of the gray matter, or in the motor cranial nerve nuclei within the brain stem. So they are called as the lower motor neurons, which give the termination for this descending tract, and upper motor neuron which are present within the brain. So within the brain, either the cortex or subcortical area, so where the descending tract fibers are originated, they are called as the upper motor neuron. Upper motor neuron has a influence on the lower motor neuron, and lower motor neuron which are present in the anterior horn of the gray matter, either in the motor cranial nerve nuclei. So they are considered which are considered as a lower motor neuron, which are under the influence of the upper motor neurons, and which is, so what are the fiber which are originated from this, which is innervate the target organ, and they exhibit their function on that target organ. So here we are called that the descending tract which is moved downward, so which is named only after connecting the two masses of the gray matter in the upper. One is in the upper motor in the high center, second is the termination in the lower center or lower motor neuron nuclei, and higher center where the upper motor nuclei is there. So it means that, for example, the corticospinal tract. So corticospinal tract, why it is named? Because that the axon fiber, which is primarily originated from the upper motor neuron, which is present in the cortex, and then after it is convey the motor impulse into the lower motor neuron, which is present in the spinal segment of the anterior horn gray matter. So that is why it is called as a corticospinal tract. So here we can see this, whatever the fibers which are moving downward, so these tracts are, which is primarily originated from the upper motor neuron, which is present in the higher center, and then after eventually they end in the spinal segment in the anterior horn of the gray matter nuclei. So that is either alpha motor neuron, gamma motor neuron, so which are considered as a lower motor neuron. So that is why, so after connecting the two masses of the gray matter, that is upper motor neuron nuclei, lower motor neuron, they have been named as a corticospinal tract. Cortico, so it is originated from the cortex level, and spinal where it is terminated. That is why it is called as a corticospinal tract. Next is the next example is corticobulbar tract. So corticobulbar tract. So for that, primary motor neuron is present within the cortex level, and the termination nuclei, which is present in the lower motor neuron, so which is in the bulbar area, means upper, which is in the brain stem. So whatever the nuclei which are present within the brain stem, that is mostly motor cranial nerve nuclei. So they so by connecting these two nuclei, so they form the corticobulbar tract. So it is the, so we can see this this corticobulbar tract, so which is originated from the cortical level. So then after it is terminated in the nuclei which are present at the brainstem level. So what are the fiber which are originated, which is emerged from this lower motor neuron in the course of the corticobulbar tract. So they innervate the muscles or innervate the structures of the head, neck and face, and they regulate the movement of the head, neck, face. And what are the fiber which is emerged out from the corticospinal tract? So they regulate the body movement. So it is the basic about the descending tract. So what is the say function, the normal function of the CNS? So we already discussed that CNS receive the information from the receptor through afferent fibers, and then after it is convey this information to the center via ascending tract. So in the center, the related decision or integrated decision is made, and that decision is majorly conveyed by the tract, which is convey the motor information, or they are also decision from the higher center to lower center. So that tract, the pathway or channel, is called as a descending tract. So from that, what are the fiber which is going outside of the CNS, they eventually innervate the structures of the skeletal muscle or the visceral muscle or smooth muscle, and then after they exhibit the needed function over their structure. So it is the way of the function or structure concept of the descending tract. So we in this course of the discussion, we have come to the point of the two nuclei, that is upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. So we all discussed the upper motor neuron, which is present in the higher center, so from where the descending tract is originated, and the lower motor neuron, which is present in the lower area, so that is the either in the anterior horn gray matter of the spinal cord, either in the cranial motor nuclei which are present in the brainstem, so which are under the influence of the upper motor neuron. So whenever so we coming on to the pathology. So whenever this upper motor neuron, lower motor neurons lesion is occur, so what type of the effect? So what effect they produce in our body? So that is the in different function. The muscle tone. So whenever the upper motor neuron, lower motor is listen, so what influence we will produce on the muscle tone? So whenever the upper motor neuron is listen, there is hypertonia, increased tone is there, and the lower motor neuron whenever listen, we can see the hypotonia. There is a tone of the muscle is reduced. And what type of the paralysis that been seen in both the upper motor neuron, lower motor neuron. So in the upper motor neuron, the paralysis is spastic type of the paralysis, and in the lower motor neuron, the paralysis is considered as it is categorized as a flaccid type of the paralysis. And wastage of the muscle. So in the upper motor neuron, we does not see the wastage of the muscle, but in the lower motor neuron there is a wastage of the muscle is seen. But in the what about the superficial reflex? So superficial reflex are lost in both the upper motor neuron lesion and as well as the lower motor neuron reflex. And what about the deep reflex? So deep reflex are in the whenever the upper motor neurons are lesions, they are exaggerated because there is no control over the lower motor neuron. So there is excessive motor impulse are generated and then increase the reflex process. And whenever the lower motor neuron is lesion, there is the deep reflex actions are disappear or they are lost. So plantar reflex. What about the plantar reflex? So normally whenever the upper motor neurons are lesion, the plantar reflex is observed abnormally. So that is called as a Babinski sign. So the abnormal plantar reflex is called as a Babinski positive. So whenever the lower motor neuron lesion is take place, so plantar reflex are absent. And what about the electrical activity? In the upper motor neuron lesion, electrical activity are normal, but in the lower motor neuron lesion, the electrical activity are lost. So what about the muscle, which are what about the effect which is seen whenever the upper motor neuron lesion and lower motor neuron lesion is take place? So in the upper motor neuron lesion, the group of the muscles are affected, and in the lower motor neuron, the individual muscles are affected in the lower motor neuron lesion. So it is about the basic of the upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. So now you see the classification of this descending tract. So this descending tract basically they classified or it is categorized into the two forms. One is the pyramidal tract and second is the extrapyramidal tract. So pyramidal tract again subdivided into the lateral corticospinal tract and anterior corticospinal tract. And in the extrapyramidal tract, there are some of the examples are there. Then in the context of the extrapyramidal tract, they are the medial longitudinal fasciculus, anterior and lateral vestibulospinal tract, reticulospinal tract, and rubrospinal tract, olivospinal tract. We can discuss elaborately about the pyramidal and as well as the extrapyramidal. First, we focus on the pyramidal tract. So pyramidal tracts were the first tract to be found in men. So all the fibers of the pyramidal tracts are present since birth. However, the myelination of this fiber is completed in about 2 years after the birth. So the pyramidal tracts on each side have more than 1 million fibers. About 70% of the fibers are large myelinated fibers having a diameter of 4 to 22 micron. The large fibers of the pyramidal tract have the tendency to disappear at old age. Since these tracts are concerned with the control of the voluntary movements, the disappearance of the fibers of the pyramidal tract cause automatic severing movements in the old age. So basically, pyramidal tract, why it is called as a pyramidal tract and what is the function, basic function of the pyramidal tract? So some of the persons are believed that it is called as a pyramidal tract because of its origin. So mostly pyramidal tract is originated from the cortex area, basically from the area number 4, where the pyramidal cell or giant cell bed cells are present abundantly. So due to the origination of the specific pyramidal cell type of the cell, some of the person are concerned that it should be named as a pyramidal tract, but it is not so. So what is the exact cause for to give a name of the pyramidal tract for this specific tract? So that is due to the appearance that which it makes the appearance like a pyramidal structure. So while the course of its descent, so whenever it is reached at the upper medulla level, so that the fibers or axon fibers are converged and they form the compact bundle which are directed downward as a inverted pyramidal structure. So here we can see. So while the course of the descent, so whenever it is upper medulla level, so that fibers, due to the convergence of that fibers at the upper medulla level, so they form the appearance of the inverted pyramidal structure. So that inverted due to the appearance of this inverted pyramidal structure, so this tract can be named as a pyramidal tract. So this tract is concerned with rapid, skilled and voluntary movement. So what is the basic? So now we see so we are clear about why it is named as a pyramidal tract. It is named as a pyramidal tract because of at the level of the pyramid, the axon fibers are converged and form the inverted pyramidal like structure at the upper part of the anterior surface of the medulla. Due to this structure, it is named as a pyramidal tract, and it is concerned with the rapid, skilled and voluntary movements. So now we see the origin of this tract. So basically the origin of any descending tract is from the upper motor neuron nuclei. So the upper motor neuron nuclei, which is for this tract, is 30% of these fibers are originated from the upper motor nuclei, which are present in the primary motor nuclei, that is area number 4, and supplementary motor area. And the other 30% of the fibers are originated from the premotor area, and remaining 40% of the fibers are originated from the sensory somatosensory area of the cortex. So this is the cortex. So from the major cortical fibers or pyramidal tract fibers are take origin. So after the origination of this from the upper motor neuron nuclei, so they are descend downward. So they descend downward through the course of the first they descend as a corona radiata form. So what is the corona radiata? After taking origination, the nerve fiber run downward in a diffuse manner through white matter of the cerebral hemisphere and converge in the form of the fan-like structure along with the ascending fiber which project from thalamus to cerebral cortex. So here we can see that after origination from the cerebral cortex, so they descend downward through the white matter of the cerebral hemisphere. So during the course of its descent, it is run in a diffuse manner through white matter of the cerebral hemisphere and converge in the form of the fan-like structure. So we can see this fan-like structure fiber, so which consists both the afferent fiber and efferent fiber. It means that the ascending fiber and descending fiber. So ascending fiber, which is projected from the thalamus and eventually projected into the cortex, and the descending fiber which is primarily coming from the cortical level and which descend downward. So that is the corona radiata structure. So then after, during the course of the descent at the level of the brainstem, during the course of the brainstem level, it is formed the internal capsule structure. So the whatever the fiber which is during the descent, so they converge and form the internal capsule structure. So we can see the internal capsule structure here. So this internal capsule structure is present medially in thalamus and the caudate nucleus, and in the laterally it is present in the lentiform nucleus. So due to lenticular nucleus, so that structure is called as a internal capsule. So it means that first it is originated from the upper motor neuron nuclei, which is present either primary motor area, premotor area, supplementary motor area, or sensory part of the cortex. Then after it is descend through a corona radiata form, and then after internal capsule. So after that it descend from the structures of the midbrain and pons. But whenever it is reached at the upper part of the medulla, so in the medulla these fibers are converged and they form the compact bundle like structure which is resemble as a inverted pyramidal shaped structure. So due to that appearance, it has been named as a pyramidal tract. So after that, at the lower part of the medulla, at the lower border of the medulla, the pyramidal tract on each side is divided into the two bundle of the unequal size. So about 80% of the fiber from each side cross to the opposite side. While crossing the midline, the fiber of the both sides form the pyramidal decussation. So decussation is the crossing from the one side to the opposite. So crossing of the fiber from the opposite side is called as a decussation, pyramidal decussation, because it is the pyramidal tract fibers are 80% of these fibers are crossed from the opposite side. So then after the by crossing the midline to the opposite side, so whatever the fibers, so here, so we can see this. So this pyramidal, this tract, so in the lower part of the medulla, so 80% of the fibers are crossed opposite side. So this is the opposite side crossing. So we can see, so they descend downward, and at the level of the spinal cord, it is approached to the lateral wide column. So then after it descends to the different segment of the spinal cord. So we can see the lateral spinal tract, corticospinal tract, which is approached to the lateral wide column, and then after it is eventually terminated in the lower motor neurons. So after that, whatever the fiber which is exit from this lower motor neuron, they are going to innervate the structures of the skeletal muscle, and they regulate the voluntary function. And so these fibers also called as a indirect corticospinal tract, or this is also called as a uncrossed pyramidal tract, or so this is called as a it is called as a crossed pyramidal tract, or also called as a lateral corticospinal tracts. That is so these fibers are called as a crossed and indirect corticospinal tract, or lateral corticospinal tracts, and remaining 20% of the fiber without crossing the opposite side, see descend in the same segment, and in the spinal segments they approach to the anterior wide column and descend to the lower motor neuron. So this tract is considered or termed as the anterior corticospinal tract, or they are called as uncrossed corticospinal tract, or they are called as they are also called as a direct corticospinal tract. But before terminating on the lower motor neuron, it has been cross-set opposite side, and then after eventually it is terminated in the lower motor neuron. So it is about the pyramidal tract. So that is the lateral corticospinal tract and anterior corticospinal. 80% of the fibers are bound to form the lateral corticospinal tract, and 20% from this pyramidal tract fibers are bound to form a anterior corticospinal tract, which are concerned to regulate the rapid, skilled and voluntary movements of the body. So it is about the pyramidal tract. Now move on to our second classification of the descending tract, that is the extrapyramidal tract. So extrapyramidal tract, why it is called as extrapyramidal? The tract other than the pyramidal tract, they are considered as a extrapyramidal tract, and basically it is concerned with the involuntary function. It regulates the involuntary function. For example, reflex and posture related regulatory movement, it has been governed by the extrapyramidal tract. Normally, the pyramidal tract may be directly innervate the cranial motor nuclei or anterior horn nuclei, but extrapyramidal tracts are modulate the anterior horn nuclei. These extrapyramidal tracts are regulated and modulated by the basal ganglia, cerebellum, and as well as the vestibular apparatus and somatosensory part of the cortex. So they also, it means that they regulate and modulate the extrapyramidal tracts. So due to that, so they may be considered as a part of the extrapyramidal tract. So extrapyramidal tracts are those tracts which are other, so they are not which are not a part of the pyramidal tracts other than the tracts other than the pyramidal tract within the CNS. They are called as the extrapyramidal tract, which are concerned with the movement of the which are concerned with the involuntary movement. So that is the reflex and posture maintain relating function. So that coordinate the function of the trunk and extremity musculature to the maintaining the posture and balance. So it is about the basic concept of the extrapyramidal tract. So we already discussed that there are the different extrapyramidal tracts are present in our body. They are the medial longitudinal fasciculus, anterior and lateral vestibulospinal tract, reticulospinal tract, tectospinal tract, and olivospinal tract and rubrospinal tract. So we will discuss one by one deeply about that extrapyramidal tract fibers. First, medial longitudinal fasciculus. So normally this tract has both apparent and both ascending and descending parts are components are there. So in the descending components, which are present basically in the posterior part of the white column of the spinal cord, means that it is descend through the posterior part of the anterior white column of the spinal cord, and basically so the upper motor neuron for this medial longitudinal fasciculus for the descending tract, it is basically originated from the nuclei which are present in the brain stem. So there are 4 nuclei are there. From that, these tract fibers are take origin. So they are the vestibular nuclei, reticular formation nuclei, superior colliculus nuclei, interstitial cells of the Kegel. So here this is the medial longitudinal fasciculus, which is originated from the different nuclei, that is the vestibular nuclei and reticular formation, superior colliculus and interstitial cells of Kegel. So after taking the origin from the upper motor nuclei, they descend downward through the posterior part of the anterior column of the same size. So then after it is extend up to the upper cervical segment of the spinal cord, and it is eventually terminated in the anterior horn nuclei of the spinal cord. So what is the function of this medial longitudinal fasciculus is, so normally it is it is concerned with the coordination of the reflex ocular movement and the integration of the ocular and neck movement. It means that it is responsible, or it is governed the where should our eye should be moved. So in which direction in our eye should be moved to protect and to do the different function in according to different reflex action. So that is about the medial longitudinal fasciculus. Next is anterior and lateral vestibulospinal tract. So anterior vestibulospinal tract, it is situated, or it is extended through the spinal cord via anterior white column, and basically it is originated from the medial vestibulus nucleus. So this is the medial vestibulus nucleus. So from which this anterior vestibulospinal tract or medial vestibulospinal tract is take origin. So, and it is extend up to the thoracic segment of the spinal cord. So after taking origin from this nuclei, it descends downward to the same segment, and then after eventually it is terminated in the lower motor neuron. So and the lower motor neuron. So next tract is the lateral vestibulospinal tract. So this tract is present in the lateral segment of the lateral white column of the spinal cord, and this nuclei, this tract is originated from the lateral vestibulus nucleus. These are the lateral vestibular nuclei from which the axon fibers are take place, and they descend downward and extend to the throughout the spinal cord segment, and then after it is eventually terminated in the anterior gray horn nuclei. And so basically, so it is about the anatomical pathway of the anterior and lateral vestibulospinal tracts. So what is the function which is mediated by both these vestibulospinal tracts? So the vestibulospinal tracts, or this medial and lateral vestibular nuclei, receive the impulse concerned with the muscle tone and posture from vestibular apparatus and as well as the cerebellum. The vestibular nuclei in turn convey the impulse to different parts of the body through the anterior and lateral vestibulospinal tract. So on the basis of that reflex action, the vestibulospinal tract are concerned with the adjustment of the position of the head and body during the angular and as well as a linear acceleration. So this is called as a righting reflex. So righting reflex is that it is adjust the body and head position during the different linear and as well as the angular movement. So for example, so in the joint wheel, whenever the person is enter into the joint wheel during the riding of the joint wheel, so whenever it is moved round, so during the different acceleration, that is linear and angular acceleration, our body and head movements are changing. So due to that changing, so this vestibular apparatus and as well as the cerebral nuclei are effect stimulated. So normally they have a image, they have a basic image. So they have a basic image of the bodies is there in that area. So whenever it is changed, the body image is changed or body posture is changed, so they are activated and they try to maintain the posture and body shape according to body needs to maintain the equilibrium. So that process which is regulated, so which is concerned or initiated, that is through the writing reflex. So that is basically governed by the anterior and lateral vestibulospinal tract. Next is the reticulospinal tract and as well as the tectospinal tract. So reticulospinal tract, which is present or situated or extended in the anterior white column posterior to the anterior vestibulospinal tract. So reticulospinal tract, which is concerned with the function which is called as which control of the movements and as well as maintaining of the muscle tone, respiration and diameter of the blood vessel. So this reticulospinal tract, basically it is originated from the pontine level nuclei and as well as the medullary level nuclei. So here, so we can see the tectospinal and reticulospinal tract pathway. So this reticulospinal tract, it is originated from the pontine nucleus. Whatever the tract which is originated from the pontine and nuclei, so they descend downward through the same segment, and whatever the nuclei, whatever the tract which is originated, most of these fibers which take origin from the medullary reticular nuclei, so they are descend downward in the same segment from this, but few of the fiber, so they are crossed opposite side. Then after it is descend through the lateral part of the anterior white column, and eventually so they descend into the anterior horn of the cell. So this reticulospinal tracts are extend up to the thoracic segment of the and both these nuclei, this tract which are originated from the pontine level and as well as the medullary level, so they are concerned to control of the movement and maintain of the muscle tone and respiration and diameter of the blood vessel, but their function is opposite, which means that their effect on this blood vessel and respiration and in the maintenance of the muscle tone and the regulation of the movements are opposite to each other. So for example, for the control of the voluntary and reflex movement, pontine action on that level is to facilitate the voluntary movement and as well reflex movement, while the medullary reticular fibers are inhibit this movement. And at the level of the control of the muscle tone through the gamma motor neuron, pontine reticular fibers are facilitate that function, but medullary reticular fibers inhibit the muscle tone. So on the respiration, pontine reticular fibers are favor the expiration, while medullary reticular fibers are favor the inspiration. It means that pontine reticular fibers are govern the expiration process and medullary reticular fibers are govern the inspiration process. And lastly, on the blood vessel, what is the effect from the pontine reticular fiber? They cause the vasoconstriction, while the medullary reticular fiber cause the vasodilatation. Next pathway is the tectospinal tract. This tectospinal tract, which is originated or from the nuclei that is called as superior colliculus nuclei. So this is the superior colliculus nucleus. So this superior colliculus nucleus, so after origination of the tract from the superior colliculus nucleus of the midbrain, so the fibers of this nuclei, they crossed opposite side from the midline, and then after they descend downward from the anterior white column through the pons and medulla, and then after it is reach in the spinal cord segment through the anterior right column and extend up to the lower cervical segment. So then after it is terminated in the anterior horn Gray cell. So what is the function of the tectospinal tract? So the tectospinal tract is responsible for the movement of the head in response to the visual and auditory stimuli. It means that it is responsible for the movement of the head in different auditory and visual stimulus. So it will respond through that auditory and visual stimuli in according to changing the head movement or head position. And next is the next tract, that is the olivospinal tract. So olivospinal tract, basically it is originated from the inferior olivary nucleus, and it is terminated on the ipsilateral, it descend downward to the ipsilateral level, and then after it is terminated on the anterior horn cell, and basic function is to regulate the movement or it mediates the reflex action arising from the proprioceptus. So it is about the oliospinal tract. So one tract, that is the rubrospinal tract. So rubrospinal tract, which is present in the lateral right column of the spinal cord. So it means it is extended through the lateral right column of the spinal cord, and it is originated from the red nucleus of the midbrain. So after taking origination of that nucleus, so they descend downward and extend up to the thoracic segment of the spinal cord. So then after eventually they terminated into the anterior horn gray matter nuclei. And what is the function of this rubrospinal tract? That this tract exhibits the facilitatory influence upon the flexor muscle tone. So it is about the rubrospinal tract. Thank you.